Namaste everyone, welcome back to Suvi English channel. In today's video, I am going to discuss a very interesting story titled The Homecoming, written by Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore was an iconic Indian writer who reshaped the Indian literature, particularly Bengal literature. With his creative writings, Rabindranath Tagore started receiving the global recognition. In the year 1913, he received the Nobel Prize for Literature for his great work called Geetanjali. He became the first non-European to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature. Earlier, all these prestigious awards, all these Nobel Prizes for Literature would go to only Europeans. But Rabindranath Tagore challenged it, and he also proved that even a non-European also could get that award, prestigious award, Nobel Prize for Literature, and it happened in the year 1913. And the story that we have with us today, The Homecoming, was published in the year 1914. And this story talks about the people. The Homecoming story talks about the people who stay away from their homes due to some reasons and struggling with loneliness, homesickness, and emotional pain. And in this story, The Homecoming, we see a 14 years old boy. His name is Phatik Chakravarti. He is the protagonist of this story. And this boy, this 14 years old boy, Phatik Chakravarti, goes away from his home and he stays in a city with his uncle, and he experiences all these problems. So he faces that loneliness, homesickness, and the emotional pain, and he is very much eager to go back to his home, and we see all that in this story. Now let's get into the story and see who this Phatik Chakravarti was, what happened to him, what all the psychological issues that he had in his mind. So we will see all that. And the story, this Homecoming, begins with a mischievous activity. This Phatik Chakravarti was very naughty, he was very hyperactive, he was very mischievous, and he had a team, he had a gang, and all the boys in his team were also very mischievous, they were also very naughty, and he was the leader. Phatik Chakravarti was the leader of that gang, right? So this story, The Homecoming, begins with a mischievous activity undertaken by this gang, and the mischievous activity was, there was a wooden log. You can see the wooden log on the screen. So this kind of wooden log was there on the river bank. So that wooden log belonged to a boat owner. The boat owner had kept that wooden log because he needed that wooden log to prepare a mast. A mast means a pole which we see fixed to a boat. You can see on the screen. So this kind of mast, that pole, that boat owner wanted to prepare, so he had kept that wooden log on the river bank. So these boys, along with this Phatik Chakravarti, saw this wooden log and they wanted to have fun with it, and they decided to roll it over and push it into the river. And the leader Phatik Chakravarti ordered all his boys to roll it over and push it into the river. And when he said that, everybody supported his idea because he was the leader and everybody was obeying his orders. So everybody supported his idea and they were about to start that game. But there was one boy who opposed that game. It was none other than Phatik Chakravarti's own brother, his younger brother Makhan. His name was Makhan. So he opposed it. He did not like that game. Makhan must have thought that it was wrong. So he tried to stop them and he sat on the wooden log, not letting all the boys to do it. Everybody was shocked to see this Makhan because Phatik Chakravarti was very strong, very famous leader. He was the one who was leading, he was the ringleader of that gang. But here it was his own brother who is opposing Phatik Chakravarti's orders. So Phatik Chakravarti went to Makhan and said, "See, Makhan, if you don't get up, I will thrash you. Not just beating, thrash you, I will thrash you." This is what he warned. But Makhan did not care about his warnings. He was still sitting on the wooden log. But Phatik became even more anger and he ordered his boys. So he ordered his boys to push not only that wooden log but also Makan into the river. And all the boys obeyed his orders and they did as they were asked to do. So they pushed not only that wooden log but also Makan. And as they did, Makan got hurt and he was very angry. He became very violent and wild and he started hitting Phatik Chakravarti. He became so violent and he started hitting him. But Phatik Chakravarti did not react to his violence. Phatik Chakravarti did not beat him. You must notice this. He did not do anything. He just kept quiet and Makan was beating him. And after some time, Makan went home crying and Phatik Chakravarti remained there on the river bank for some time. And as he was there on the river bank, a stranger came to him and asked him where Chakravartis lived. Chakravartis means it a community. So that stranger asked this Phatik Chakravarti, my dear boy, where do Chakravartis live? Chakravartis family, community, where do they live? He asked. And Phatik Chakravarti had some bad mood, so he was not interested in all that and he indicated some directions. He carelessly answered to that question. And later, after this incident, Phatik Chakravarti's mother sent someone to bring him to home. And he was not at all ready to go home initially, but he was dragged to home. And when he went home, his mother started scolding Phatik Chakravarti. She had some prejudice that whatever happened, it was all because of Phatik Chakravarti. Of course, he was mischievous, he was very naughty, he was hyperactive, but his mother would always come to the conclusion, come to the judgment that everything that went wrong, it was all because of Phatik Chakravarti. So she had that kind of prejudice and she was not at all showing love, affection on Phatik Chakravarti. She started scolding him. And at the same time, Makan also was crying and he was complaining that he was beaten up by Phatik Chakravarti. And Phatik Chakravarti tried to convince his mother. He tried to say that he did not really beat him. But Makan complained, he lied, he started telling lies that he was beaten up by his brother and he started telling all that lies and started crying. And mother also supported Makan and she was showing more love, concern to Makan and she was not at all worried about Phatik Chakravarti. So with this Phatik Chakravarti was very angry. He could not tolerate that injustice and he really started hitting Makan on his face for telling lies and for complaining all about that. And the mother wanted to stop that violence, and as she was trying to stop, Phatik Chakravarti pushed her aside and she became even more anger. As this was happening, they received a guest. The guest was none other than the stranger whom Phatik Chakravarti had met few minutes ago. And he was none other than Phatik Chakravarti's uncle. But he did not know that it was his uncle. His mother was so pleased looking at him and her anger came down. She was so pleased, she was very happy because it was her own brother. And she went to him and took his blessings and she was so pleased to meet him. And his name was Bishambar. Phatik Chakravarti's uncle's name was Bishambar. He was there in Bombay. He was there in Bombay for many years after her wedding and he started his business and he was running business. But after many years, Bishambar decided to shift his family from Bombay to Kolkata and he wanted to meet his sister. So he somehow found her address and he came to this place and she was so happy. Bishambar decided to spend a few days in his sister's house and he was there with these two boys and with his sister. Once Bishambar asked his sister about the children's education and the mother started complaining about the boys, especially Phatik Chakravarti. She said that Phatik Chakravarti was very lazy, was very mischievous, very disobedient and he was very wild. So these were the complaints that she gave about Phatik Chakravarti. And as far as Makan was concerned, She said that Makan was as good as gold, and he was very quiet, he was very silent, and he was very studious, and he was very obedient. These were the words that she used to describe Makan, but she did not talk anything positive about Patik Chakravarti. When Bishambar heard about Patik Chakravarti, he decided to take him to his place. He decided to take him to Kolkata and to educate him along with his three children. Bishambar had a family in Kolkata, and he had three sons. So, along with those three boys, Bishambar decided to take Patik Chakravarti and give education there in Kolkata. When the mother heard that, she was very happy because it was her own brother taking her son along with him to Kolkata. She was very happy, and moreover, she wanted to get rid of that Patik Chakravarti because he was very mischievous and he used to get scolded every time. And not only that, that would really reduce her burden because she lost her husband. She was a widow, and it was very difficult for her to maintain all that expenses, bringing up these two children and maintaining the family. It was very difficult. So she became very happy when she heard that Bishambar decided to take Patik Chakravarti to city, to Kolkata, to educate him. And Patik Chakravarti also was very curious. He was very much interested in going to Kolkata because he also wanted to leave this place because he was not receiving a love, any kind of affection, kindness. So he was not getting all this love and affection at home. So he decided to go to Kolkata, and he was very much eager to go to Kolkata and study in cities. And every time he would ask his uncle when they were going to Kolkata. And finally, Bishambar took Patik Chakravarti to his place, Kolkata. But when they went to Kolkata, when they went to his place, Patik Chakravarti's aunt was not really happy. She was very unhappy. She was upset because of this extra addition. This 14 years old boy would be a trouble, would be a burden for her. And running a family, bringing up three children was not a small thing. So it was difficult for her also. So she did not like that idea actually. Bishambar should have thought twice before taking that decision. But Bishambar had some love, affection, and some concern for that boy, and he decided to take him, and he took him. Patik received no love and affection from his aunt. He used to be silent, he used to keep quiet, and he lost all the freedom in that little house, and it was very difficult for him to breathe freely. And soon, very soon, he realized that he had lost all his freedom and he was missing his home. When he was there in his home, he used to play kites, he used to play with his friends, he used to have a lot of freedom, he used to sing, he used to shout, he used to swim whenever he wanted to have, and he used to have that complete freedom. But now in city, in his aunt's house, all that freedom was cut. So it was very difficult for him. He used to always keep quiet. He lost everything and used to keep quiet, and he was also not concentrating on studies also. He would go to school along with his cousins. So Bishambar had three sons, and this boy Patik Chakravarti would go to school, to the same school along with these three boys, his cousins. But he could not concentrate on the studies because he had developed some kind of sickness, that was homesickness. He was longing to go back to his home. He was very much eager to go back to his place. So he had no interest in studies, nothing, and he always looked very dull and sad. And when all the boys would go for games, this Patik Chakravarti would keep quiet and sit somewhere. Once Patik Chakravarti decided to ask his uncle when he could go back to his home. And to this, uncle said that he had to wait till the holidays come. And holidays would come only in November. Still, there was so much time for holidays, and it was and Patik Chakravarti could not bear that pain and all. He wanted to leave that place because he was not finding any comfort in his aunt's house. He was always dull and he was very sad. One day he lost a lesson book, and when he lost a lesson book, the teacher mercilessly punished him, and all the boys in the school including his cousins, started insulting, started teasing at him. So he became very humiliated. He felt embarrassed in that situation. And the aunt also, when she learned that he had lost his lesson book, she said that she could not afford to buy books 5 times in a month, and she started scolding him for losing the books. One day Patik Chakravarti had a bad headache, so it was the symptom of malarial fever. He decided not to give trouble to his aunt, so he decided not to create some nuisance at home, his aunt's house. So he decided to go back to his place, his village. So he started his journey, but it was raining heavily, and that day he did not go to his uncle's house, and uncle was very apprehensive, and he started searching for Patik everywhere. And the next morning the searches were made everywhere. Bishambar took police help, and somehow they got Patik back to his house. At that time, Patik had high fever, and Bishambar realized that he should have not taken that decision of bringing Patik Chakravarti from his place to the city. Because, no, of course, he was very supportive. Bishambar was very supportive. He was showing so much concern, love, but his aunt was not showing. No, she could have given at least some moral support, some kind of love, kind words, some appreciation. She could have given that, but he lost that also. He missed that also. Even in his family, in his home also, he missed that. And here also, in his uncle's home also, he missed that. Poor Patik Chakravarti, he did not have that kind of affection, love. So Bishambar realized that he should have not taken that decision, and later he carried Patik Chakravarti in his arm and taken to his house. When Bishambar's wife saw him, she again started scolding her husband. No, she said that he should have sent that boy back to his place. And to this, Patik Chakravarti opened his eyes and responded with his tears, and he said that he was actually going back to his village, but it was the police who brought back to his uncle's house. Bishambar also was very sad, no, looking at this boy, and he arranged a doctor and started treatment. After some time, when he got the consciousness, the boy again asked his uncle if the holidays had come. He was longing to go back to his place. Though he had no love, no affection from his mother, he wanted to go back to his place. And Bishambar wrote a letter to Patik's mother, and Patik's mother came rushing to him. And when she came, she could not hold back her tears. She started crying, and she also realized her mistake, her failure. She failed to she failed to show love and affection to her own son. She realized that, and she should have not done that mistake. And when she met him, when she talked to him, the boy again asked, Amma, I want to come home. That homecoming, right? He wanted to go home. So with this, the story ends. Thank you.